Hey guys, I am so excited that I finally have another piercing to make videos on and do videos of which I can actually give you my personal experience because it just makes everything a shit ton easier. My septum piercing is fully healed. I passed the 4-week mark a couple of days ago, honestly. I had a completely painless piercing experience, piercing it with the exception of the first 2 to 3 days of having the piercing. That was a little bit painful, but other than that, I've had a completely painless experience. I love it. The piercing is fantastic. It healed easy. This is me wearing visible jewelry, and like I was talking about in my first septum piercing video, I can't flip it up. Like, my nose is just too small to flip the jewelry up inside, so I'm gonna have to either find smaller jewelry, which is nowhere in my town currently, or I'm gonna have to swap between this and my 16 gauge barbell, which is what I'm doing right now. But for now, for the past couple of days, I've been wearing it out, and it is a whole other ballpark. Anyways, you guys didn't come here to listen to me talk about my piercing. You came here to learn how to clean a septum piercing. All you're gonna need to clean a septum piercing, the way I cleaned mine my entire healing period, and I didn't get infected, and it was a breeze. This is how I cleaned it. All you're gonna need is a measuring cup, preferably a 1 cup measuring cup, not one of those big ones, and you'll see why later. Your sea salt, not table salt, sea salt, a teaspoon, and as many effing Q-tips as you can get your hands on. Literally, I've gone through a pack in the last 4 weeks. Crazy. Now, you take your cup and you want to make sure that it is clean every time you go to use it. Wash it with some antibacterial soap and just make sure that you have no bacteria in there. I've already done this. I know it looks a little cloudy, but that's just like the way the glass is. So, now that you've done that, take your teaspoon, fill it 1/4 of the way up. Teaspoon, not a tablespoon, teaspoon. So there's about that much. Put it into your cup. Ta-da. And now fill the cup up to 1 cup with warm water. Ta-da. Now you can either use your spoon, which should be clean, or a Q-tip, but mix it so that the salt fully dissolves. Because if you don't do this, the salt just all sits at the bottom and then you're not getting any of it in your piercing. Now, right now, you've had your septum out all day and you need to clean it. The crusties are going to be really hard, which means they're not going to come off easy. So, I have to remove my glasses for this. Take the cup and hold it so that the tip of your nose is submerged in the cup. Hold it there for between 1 and 3 minutes, like this. Do it over a sink because you're going to have water running, like dripping off. If you accidentally get some in your mouth and you realize that it tastes salty, you know you're doing okay. We got super salty. This is going to loosen up all of the crusties. So, you've done that. You've held it there for about 1 to 3 minutes. Then, you take one of your Q-tips, and quite honestly, I found it easier to do it with a dry Q-tip than to dunk it in because it's all going to be really, really gooey now. So you just go in there and you just clean. Keep checking, make sure that you got all of it. Then when you're done, you take this solution and you dump it out. Then you make a fresh batch. And if you want, if you want to save time, you don't even have to put sea salt in it the first time. It can just be warm water because you're going to dump it out. Because if you were to just use the same solution, all the bacteria from the crusties that was in that solution is going to be in the cup. Then you're putting it back on a newly clean piercing, which is just putting the bacteria back to where you just got rid of it from. So dump it out, clean it out with the antibacterial soap, and then make a fresh batch, or make your first batch. Just make sure it has sea salt in it. And then hold it there between 3 to 5 minutes. It gets super boring and it really sucks. And then when you're done, you have like a pressure point right there, like, you know when you hold something there for a long time and it goes white because the blood's all been pushed away? When you're done, you pull it away and it looks like you have a white Hitler stash. It's kind of funny, but it goes away really quickly. Then once you're done, take either some tissue paper or some Q-tips and very, very carefully dry off your piercing. And then once you're done that, it's a good chance to get your Q-tip all up in there and clean away any snot or boogers that could later become a problem. Little tips to remember when you're cleaning your septum piercing: try really, really hard not to move it. The more you move your jewelry, the more you're going to irritate the piercing channel. Honestly, if you're wearing something like this and you can flip it up, keep it flipped up the entire healing period. Everyone I've talked to that has their septum pierced, I've talked to professionals, I've talked to other teenagers, I've talked to adults that have their septum pierced, and they all said that having their septum flipped up the entire healing period made everything a million times easier for them than having it out. I looked online for people how to clean their piercings, and they're like, you know, I flip it down, and then I flip it like that, and then, you know, I flip it the other way, and it's like, you can't do that. The more you move it, the more sore you're going to be, the more you're going to disturb the piercing channel. Honestly, for the amount that I just moved it now, it's probably going to hurt tomorrow because I've disturbed the piercing channel. I cleaned my piercing 3 times a day when I got up, when I got home from school, and before I went to bed. The best time for me to do it was right after a shower, because I didn't have to do the first soak. I just go right in there with a Q-tip and clean everything out. Avoid using alcohol, because alcohol, first of all, stings inside of your nose and you shouldn't be inhaling it. And alcohol is just bad for piercings. Peroxide is really bad for especially septum piercings, because it'll just sit in there and you won't be getting rid of the bacteria. It'll be killing it. You'll just have like an accumulation of dead cells. And most of all, with septum piercings, you need to clean them. I have a friend that has a face full of piercings that he never cleans, and he's like, I'm gonna get my septum pierced. And I'm like, don't. I've seen the way you take care of your piercings. You're gonna get your septum pierced and it's gonna get infected. This is one piercing you don't want to get infected. When it was sore, I couldn't smile because it would hurt. Seriously, you need to clean it. I got a cold about 3 weeks in, so I spent a week with my nose running. It was sheer hell. I had to clean my piercing like 4 or 5 times a day with just water, so I wouldn't over dry it, to make sure that I could get all the snot out of it. It was disgusting and it wasn't fun. My piercing is fully healed. Doesn't hurt. I had a great experience. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. If you have a dipshit comment, I don't care what you do with it. I really don't. I hope this was informative and helpful, and have a fantastic day.